Hello, writers. Come write with me. My name is Mykela Greenwood. I create worlds for mind adventures. Welcome to my channel, Write with Mykela. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you can go on this journey with me. Today is Tuesday, and today we're going to have a writing prompt. First, I'm going to read a setting to you, and then you will take it from there. You will create the characters, and the characters could be animals or people or mythical creatures or anything else you imagine. With the setting, I will set some of the mood, but you can deepen or lighten the mood, up to you. Sit back and listen, and then after you can write. Okay? Tonight was the night of the full moon, and a haze shrouded the moon to give off an eerie, ghost-like light and shape, instead of the bright, round circle that usually hung in the sky. A mist was consistently drifting down, and that made everything it touched damp. Trees lined the lonely road as it went up the hill, and fog rolled in between their trunks as the wind whipped through and howled in soft wheezes. Soon it would be hard to see. Another thing was the air had a cold nip to it, and the dampness and the wind didn't help. Okay, writers, that is the setting. So you need to start there and tell your readers what is happening on this night, this full moon night. Some people enjoy the rain, and they might find this setting peaceful. They might think that other than the wind, the night is quiet, and the mist is keeping other people from venturing out. Some people might be a little spooked. I don't know, the full moon has all these things to it to where people get spooked with the full moon because there's all these myths and legends and stories and stuff. So just whatever you decide. I can't wait to read what you decide to do. The setting is going to be posted below, so just click the little more and scroll down, fit it on your screen so you can screenshot it. So right now you need to pause the video and write and have fun. Then come back here and listen to what I add to this setting. Okay, writers, here is what I wrote. Kahira pulled her cloak tighter around herself to fight off the cold and to keep the mist from getting inside her downline jacket. She had been walking down the road for over an hour, but now the sun had set. She thought her and her husband were driving down a road they knew well, but then suddenly her husband collapsed and the car swerved off the road. Thankfully, they ended in the ditch and not wrapped around a tree, and thankfully Kahira could get out. She tried using her cell phone, but she had no signal. She tried taking her husband's pulse, to which she didn't find one, and he didn't seem to be breathing. Kahira had taken a CPR course 6 months ago, so she tried some of the things she remembered, but after 20 minutes with no response, she got out of the car and started walking. Kahira felt she could get help at the nearest gas station. The one behind them had been 90 minutes the other way, but she thought the next one up ahead on the road was 10 or 20 minutes away. Granted, that was by car. Kahira glanced around, and the darkness seemed to close in on her, as she wasn't recognizing the road. She told herself that it was her fear and nervousness, and if she calmed down, then she would probably recognize things. Then Kahira heard the howl of a wolf, as she stopped on the narrow road and looked ahead. The road seemed to slope up, as if going up a hill, and she didn't remember a hill. Kahira looked up at the moon, and the haze made the moon look like it was shifting around. Kahira looked back the way she came. Maybe they had turned the wrong way, but at least she knew the convenience store they stopped at was back there. She thought of the car. Maybe she could climb in and sleep through the night. She didn't really want to be in the car with her dead husband because dead bodies really freaked her out. She looked ahead. She couldn't see far, but it definitely seemed like a hill, and it seemed like the trees grew closer to the road. She looked back again. She thought maybe she was almost to the next gas station. But how much farther should she walk? She pulled out her phone, and she still had no signal. It said an hour had passed since she started walking. Tears slipped down her face. She didn't know what to do, and her husband couldn't help her. Then she heard the howl again, and the howl was answered. That made up her mind. She turned around and walked briskly back towards her car. She hoped she made it back before the wolves found her. The wind blew her tears across her face. She knew now was not the time to cry, but her fear kept increasing. Kahira heard howling again, and it seemed closer, so she took off running. She hoped that would cut her time down some, but she also knew that she couldn't run 30 minutes. She might not be able to run 10 minutes, but she would try. The fog created a circle around her where she could see, but past the circle she could not see. Then suddenly in front of her, she saw some large wolves run out on the road and stop. They stood and looked at her. There were several wolves in the grass. Kahira stopped on a dime, and she tried to catch her breath. She glanced to the sides and saw wolves out to the side. This startled her. She turned full circle and saw that the wolves encircled her. She covered her mouth with her hand to stop herself from screaming. Her eyes darted to each side, and she saw the wolves on her right start to close in. Instinctively, she moved to her left, and the wolves on her left moved a little away from her. Kahira thought she was imagining things, but she turned to her left and deliberately took a few steps that way, and those wolves moved away from her. Kahira looked around the circle. All the wolves were watching her. She just wanted to get back to her car, but the wolves blocked her from going that way. The wolves that had been to her left, the direction that she now faced, parted a little. Kahira thought to herself that she must be crazy, but she headed to the opening in the wolves. As she moved that way, the wolves moved with her. Kahira briefly thought they were leading her to their cave so their young could eat her. But then she told herself that she was just thinking with fear. Kahira walked into the woods and kept heading to the opening in the wolves, which did change every now and then, and she knew she would never find her way back to the road. But she consoled herself with at least being alive for now. Kahira stopped short when she came to an opening and a cave. The wolves surrounded her, and the mist wasn't letting up, and it was cold. Kahira resolved herself to go in the cave, and she hoped that at least there wouldn't be any wind in the cave. Kahira didn't go too far in the cave because she couldn't see anything, but she sat down near the entrance, and soon a baby wolf crawled in her lap. Kahira stroked the baby wolf and relaxed a little. She felt that the wolves weren't going to eat her tonight. Okay, writers, that's 938 words for the edition. The setting was 104 words. So together, that is less than what you did for the NaNoWriMo challenge if you did that, because for the NaNoWriMo you needed 1,667 words a day. But if you have a writing goal of 500 words a day, then this is good. You have a little over 1,000 here, or yeah, 1,042 words total. So that's like 2 days worth of writing if you have that 500 words a day goal. So this is really good. This is good for your practice. This is good for your writing. So you got your goal today if you wrote about that much, or if you wrote half that much, you still got it going. But you can see how the scene is ended, but we're kind of in the middle of things. We're in the middle of this cave, in the middle of the road. We don't know what's going on. So you could certainly go from there, because there's certainly a lot of questions that you could ask to write the next scene. I hope you had fun with your writing. If you click the More button below the video, then you can screenshot the setting and see it, or copy it, or whatever that you want to do. The setting is for all my viewers. You can copy that part. The actual scene that I wrote after the setting is copyright protected. So leave a comment on if you enjoyed writing this way, and send your writings to writewithmykela@gmail.com. I know that I really left you hanging, and you're probably wondering what is happening, but that might have to wait for another day. Leave a comment on if you want me to add to this. Join me Friday for Eleni's Pride, Breaking Point, Chapter 8. Browser starts his plan. Join me Tuesday for another writing prompt or some jargon. Don't forget to visit my website, bymykela.com, and read some character bios. And send your writings and chapters to writewithmykela@gmail.com. If you hit the like and subscribe and the bell notification, then we will continue to write together. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your participation. If you know someone who would like this video, then please share it with them. This is Mykela with Write with Mykela. Bye for now.